How can the right keep screaming about the community center next to a strip club at Ground Zero? I, by the way, want to rename this the strip club, the strip club mosque, because it's closer to the strip club than it is to Ground Zero. But in any case, here's an amazing factoid. This actually, multiple news sources are now reporting this, including Rupert Murdoch's New York Post. The second largest shareholder of the parent company of Fox News is Saudi Prince Al Walid bin Talal. He owns over $1 billion worth of News Corp. He's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to projects being put together by Faisal Abdul Rauf. This is the guy who's planning to build the Muslim Community Center and mosque a couple of blocks from Ground Zero in Manhattan near the strip club. This is the guy. I mean, for weeks now, people have been saying, where's his money coming from? Where's his money coming from? According to the reports, the Saudi prince has directly funded the imam's projects to the tune of more than $300,000. The Saudi prince's personal charity, the Kingdom Foundation, donated $305,000 to an organization sponsored by Rauf. It's called Muslim Leaders of Tomorrow, and another one called the American Society for Muslim Advancement and the Cordoba Initiative, which is building the Manhattan Mosque. So here we have the second largest owner of Fox News, after Rupert Murdoch, with financial links to the Ground Zero Mosque, funding it, while at the same time Fox News performers and talking heads are attempting to link this mosque to radical Islam. Does this mean, by Fox News standards, that Fox News is a terrorist organization? Is there room in Guantanamo for the Fox News performing hosts and that company's executives? Let me ask Bill Keller. He wants to build a 9/11 Christian center next door to the strip club, next door to the so-called mosque, the community center. And his website is 911christiancenter.com. Bill, welcome back. Is there room in Guantanamo for all the Fox News talking heads?
You know, anybody that takes any of the news sources today seriously needs to do a quick.
Well,
check,
Fox News itself has reported. I mean, this is Rupert Murdoch himself is reporting.
Whether you're watching MSNBC or Fox News, you're getting a slanted view from a particular angle. I think everybody's at least smart enough to know that.
So, are you
by
suggesting
now.
that Fox News's second largest owner, second largest funder, this Prince, who owns, by the way, $2.5 billion worth of Fox News? I said over $1 billion. It's 2.5. The Prince Al Walid. This is the guy that offered to give New York City $10,000, or maybe it was $10 million after 9/11. Yeah, $10 million after 9/11. And Rudy Giuliani turned it down.
Yeah.
That this guy, it turns out, the second largest funder of Fox News, is also the largest funder of what you're calling the Ground Zero Mosque. I'm calling the strip club mosque.
The Victory Mosque. Call it
whatever you want to call it. The mosque near the strip club that's a couple blocks from Ground Zero. Right. Is being funded, it turns out, by a guy who owns $2.5 billion worth of News Corp stock and is the second largest owner and presumably, voting shareholder behind Rupert Murdoch at Fox News. Shouldn't we, by your standards,
Tom,
now that we know that the mosque is funded by Fox News, shouldn't we be putting them in Guantanamo?
But listen, why would anybody take Rupert Murdoch seriously when the man's made his billions? Basically, is nothing but a sleaze merchant and pornographer. Come on. So you got a Muslim that supports terror groups as the number 2 shareholder. The number 1 shareholder is a sleaze merchant, and that's how he's made his billions. So why is anybody surprised?
How has Rupert Murdoch made his billions selling pornography?
Well, number one, he owns DirecTV, and most of DirecTV's revenues come from their porn stations. Plus, he made his fortune
most of their revenues.
Come on, empire with naked women on page 3 all over the world. Come on, Tom.
Well,
he's a sleaze merchant.
I will give you that his tabloids in England and in Australia have have page 3 girls on them, which are topless. And I will give you that all of the cable networks, including the ones owned by Comcast, the ones owned by you pick it, all of them offer porn. You have to acknowledge, I think, Bill, that this study that the Wall Street Journal did about 3 years ago, we did a whole show on this, that there is basically not a hotel chain left in the United States anymore that would be profitable without porn on their.
I agree. What a world, isn't it?
So this is the world of business, but. The Fox News, it turns out, or at least the number 2 guy, at Fox News, or the number 2 owner of Fox News,
Right.
is the major funder of this mosque that you're so hysterical about. What do you want to do about it?
We don't know that. Number one, we don't know who's funding it because it's supposed to be $100 million for the funding of this thing, and we have no clue where it's coming from. But we do know Raouf's over there right now on the U.S. taxpayers' dime, probably raising his $100 million right now. And I just hope Nancy Pelosi is as interested in finding out where his funding comes from as she is finding out who's funding those who oppose
in part,
the
it's coming from the guy who is the second largest owner of Fox News.
We'll see. We don't know that for a fact, but we'll find out.
We know that Fox News has reported it. And Fox News isn't talking about it. We know that Rupert Murdoch's New York Post has reported it.
Right. Well, we'll find out. But you know what? Again, as you know, I say let them build their victory mosque. Let them build their triumphant mosque that's going to be fashioned after the mosque in Washington where a lot of the 9/11 hijackers used to go, quote-unquote, worship. That's fine. Let them put it up as distasteful as it is. We're going to counter that, not with a protest that's going to be over in an hour, but with an ongoing work of God at ground zero that's going to change lives.
Why are you not building this down in Dallas next to George Bush's house? I actually stood in front of his house with a bullhorn a few months ago with David Swanson and Cindy Sheehan calling him out as a war criminal. This is the guy who I am quoting from the 9/11 Commission report, the official report. President Bush did not recall discussing the August 6th report. This is the one that said bin Laden determined to strike inside the United States with the Attorney General or whether Rice had done so. George Tenet does not recall any discussions with the president of any domestic threat during this period. The borders were not hardened. Transportation systems were not fortified. Electronic surveillance was not targeted against a domestic threat. State and local law enforcement were not marshaled to augment the FBI effort. The public was not warned. End of quote from the 9/11 report. If you're concerned about 9/11, why are you not going after George W. Bush for not stopping it?
Tom, I promise you this. If George Bush decides to build a victory mosque somewhere in this country, we will be there to stand against that.
He is building a victory site at the Southern Methodist University in Dallas.
Well, I think it's a presidential library, just like Bill Clinton has one, and all the recent past
It is.
presidents
It's
have
declaring
one.
the victory of his presidency. Listen, at what point are you going to? Here we had a. I'm not even sure this guy was Muslim. He might have been an Orthodox Jew. There was a construction worker who was wearing a skull cap. And he was walking near Ground Zero by one of these protests, and he almost got beat up. I mean, we got this on videotape. Turns out he was one of the union workers who's working on the site. Not the so-called mosque site, the 9/11 site. And the guys that you are whipping up, when do you want Muslims in America to start wearing a yellow star and crescent?
Well, number one, I'm not whipping up anyone. We're going down to ground zero to save souls. But in every group, there's going to be a few fruitcakes, whether it's a group of right-wing protesters, left-wing protesters, it doesn't matter.
Why are you feeding them, Bill? Why are you pushing us in this fascistic direction? Why are you feeding this fear?
I'm pushing people to come to the 9/11 Christian Center and find hope and help in their time of need and get saved. That's all I'm pushing. I'm pushing the gospel of Jesus Christ, nothing more than that.
So who would Jesus make wear a yellow star?
I don't think Jesus would make anybody wear a yellow star. He would tell you and everyone else, it's your choice what you want to believe in. They have every right to propagate their beliefs just like we have every right to propagate ours.
Bill Keller, 911christiancenter.com. Thanks, Bill.
Bless you, Tom. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. For more on this and other topics, please visit thomhartmann.com.